Oh man, you guys are not gonna believe this. Comment section is out of control, guys. Keep it up. Yeah. Broken down Mercedes battery's so dead that you put a jump box on it, kills the jump box. Might do 2 jump boxes. Got to put 2 jump boxes on it at a time. All right, this 2014 Mercedes GL 450. Put a battery in it. Got it running. Now I'm gonna have to make sure the computer knows I put a battery in it, because these get very temperamental about that kind of thing. Got a special door for your OBD2 connection. I don't know why, but it makes them happy. It makes me happy. I don't even know how many miles are on this thing. Let's see. What's kind of odd about this Mercedes too, 137,000. 2014. It's got a key fob warning. Check engine lights on. Hood shocks don't work. Had to use a hood prop. It's got automatic air, of course, but it's not on auto, and it's on maximum. Does that sound familiar to you guys? Put it up on 68. Let's use the snap-on Modus Edge. That's what we're going to go with for this task. See how it does. Got the key on, engine off. 2014 Mercedes GL Series. Continue. I'm just going to try to do a battery. Correct program, ignition, fuel quality, parker neutral, injector, activate fuel pump. Switch key off. Okay. Switch key on. Okay. Neither of which I've done. Never seems to matter though. Anti-lock brakes, airbag, alarm, audio, battery management system. See, it's not going to be in the PCM, duh. It's going to be in the battery management system. See, now we learned something new together. Requesting ECU. Oh, look at that. Codes. No codes. All right. That's not bad. It's kind of weird that they're it's saying there's no battery management system. Maybe that's why the battery's dead in this car. It's got a blown fuse to that module or something. I'm gonna have to look into that. Distronic door control modules, memory seat, power steering. It's got to be under that. I mean, look how many modules this thing has. Isn't that pretty silly? All right, I'm gonna have to bite the bullet. I'm gonna have to scan all the modules. Probably gonna take 10 minutes. So we'll come back when this thing gets close to have not made repairs yet. I did put a battery in it though. The battery was so dead in this thing, it was killing the jump boxes. So we had to put 2 jump boxes on it to get it to move around the parking lot. So we got a battery, had an O'Reilly's battery in it. So we got O'Reilly's to send us another one. This thing is gonna take a while. Be right back. This thing is still going. It's basically got a code for alternator malfunction. PO65B. You see this green line? It shows you how many modules it's talked to out of all of the modules. It's going to be a while. So I'm just sitting here having random thoughts while this thing's working. Now, over the weekend I went on a lot of YouTube guys channels. I like to look around at the tool guys and the mechanics channels and some of the people who pretend to be mechanics channels. And it's just something that I find kind of odd is that people on YouTube are comparing the fake mechanics with the real flat rate mechanics, and they got really high expectations for flat rate mechanics. You know, when they see someone online that has a big YouTube channel with 100, 200, 500,000 subscribers or more, and they bought their own little shop and they fix vehicles and they buy vehicles for themselves and they put mods on them and things and make videos about it. And they can be really meticulous because they're not racing the clock. All they're doing is making you guys content. So those YouTube channels can spend 18 hours doing something I could do in 2 or 3 hours, and they're still making their money because they put out good content. But in the flat rate world, where you're making $20, $25, $30, $35 an hour flat rate, and you're paid based on your productivity, if you stop moving, you stop making money. If you stop producing, you don't make money. To compare those two things is not realistic. If you have your own YouTube channel and it gets really big, then you can make money doing that. But if you're working flat rate, you work a little differently and you're worried about efficiency. So just keep that in mind when you're watching YouTube channels and comparing different YouTube channels. Some people are fake mechanics and some people are professional mechanics making their living, and they also make YouTube videos, which is the category I fall into. So maybe I'm a little biased because of that. But, if you spend 18 hours doing something I can do in 2 or 3 hours, then you would never make a living. You'd starve to death if you were in the flat rate world. So, all right, this thing's not even a third of the way through. Let's come back to it in a minute. You know, it's not that I don't like those YouTube make-believe mechanics channels. They're actually pretty entertaining. I like the way they edit, and I learned a lot from them in that respect. But consider this, that if Sarah Intuned or Chris Fix did your brakes and charge you per hour, it'd probably cost you $1,000 for a basic brake job. Just something to think about. So exciting. 99%, 48 modules. We're almost done. Yay! I mean, that took a while. I think that was a solid 10 or 12 minutes at least, maybe longer. I just sat here waiting. Of course, most of the codes that are in here are battery related codes. That's these Mercedes and BMWs and the Chryslers. They just hate when the battery goes bad. Every single module has a low voltage code in it because of it. So even though I'm at 99%, I brought you guys back to the show. Still waiting. So apparently it's checking the right rear interior protection sensor, and it takes a while, I guess, to talk to that one. Oh, it's saving. That's great. I didn't ask it to save it, but thanks. And this Modus is freaking out about all these modules. I mean, this thing is working slow. Nothing's happening. I might have to go get the launch and see how that does, but I'm not starting over. Ah, there we go. 48 modules detected. Let's roll through the codes real quick so you guys can see. 2 engine codes, which with the PO65B being the primary one we're going to look at. But we'll show you guys all the codes. A lot of voltage, communication, implausible. Now some of these codes may be real codes, but most are probably related to the battery going dead. Looks like the alternator's not working. I'm going to have to go out and check the alternator. But in the meantime, I'm going to clear codes out of all the modules, because sometimes with electrical codes, these cars won't let the alternator charge. It goes into like a protection mode, kind of the way a Chrysler turns off the injectors when it sees a misfire. Like if someone were 2 misfires on a Chrysler, it'll turn off injector 2 after a while if it's going to damage the cat, so it doesn't pump raw fuel into the cat. It's actually a good thing, I think, but it causes a lot of misdiagnosis. People will be selling injectors and stuff on those vehicles if they don't know what they're looking at. But anyway, same kind of thing. So now I'm going to go out of here, clear all codes read by scan, and that will take a little while. I'm assuming not as long as pinging all the modules. Hopefully it'll only take a minute or 2. It's going back and forth doing its dance, so it's got to do 48 modules. I'm going to go ahead and let this do its thing, get my voltmeter out, and get ready to start checking on the alternator. I'm sure it's got a bad alternator, but I still got to make sure. Is that it? It's already done. Look at that. Boom. All right. Out we go. To check some of the data before I go under the hood. We'll have a look. Because there is an alternator, you can go into the alternator itself and look at any variables that might have to do with the charging system. Alternator ID 21. Status of circuit 61, no. Battery voltage 11.9, so it's already pulling the battery down. Calculated alternator minus 0010. So I'm guessing it's not electrical fault in alternator, yes. Mechanical fault in alternator, yes. Alright. Now we're heading out under the hood, because this is not right. After you unbolt the cooler lines there and there, then you can take the 2 Torx bolts out and roll the alternator sideways to get to the battery cable lug, and then I think it'll squeeze out of here. Shouldn't be too bad after that, but luckily all these Torx bolts They luckily, once you break them loose with a ratchet, they thread out pretty well. The threads are coated pretty well. I think they're zinc coated or something, so they come out pretty smooth after you've cracked them loose with a ratchet. Not too bad really, just a tight squeeze. The turbo is right above the alternator. That can't help with heat. Putting a Ultima alternator in this 14 Mercedes. What could go wrong? Drop your sway bar, take your cooling duct out of the way. Piece of cake. Once you force it past the electric steering motor and the wiring harness protector, it's not too bad. You gotta force it a little bit though. Show it a little love. Going back then will be the same procedure. Look at that thing. Oh yeah. Can't even think about getting that alternator from the top. Way down there. But it's charging for now. Appreciate you guys watching the video, man. I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. Make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons that you see down below here. They don't charge you anything for that. Appreciate you watching. You guys are awesome. I'll see you in the next video.